Are Democrats okay? MAGA was right. We were crazy. I don't know about that one, if the Democrats actually think that. Anyway, there's a Shoe video. After the woke 1, we'll probably talk about woke 2. Is this what this will lead into? Anyway, we're going to look at this. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah.
So my last video...
So it's interesting, right? Because, you know, technically, arguably, all the left-wingers, not all the left-wingers, but a ton of left-wing parties overall throughout the world are not okay. Not particularly that the right-wingers are okay either. They're not that okay either, right? They're still more okay, but they're not... The others are certainly not okay. Anyway, we're going to continue. Yeah, we watched that as well, the woke 1. Now we're in woke 2, dark woke, whatever you want to call it.
Was about woke 1, a new phrase coined by leftists and Democrats online that is being used to distance themselves from the terrible PR disaster that was the last few years for the left in America. Nancy Pelosi kneeling in full African garb to honor George Floyd? Why, that was just woke 1. And
you mean kneeling in front of a drug addict that died of an overdose, and people still saying, oh, he was killed by a police officer when that did not happen? This man's life would have ended that day, whether he got involved with the police or not. This man's life would have ended that day. That's what the autopsy report said.
How, in my opinion, that was not woke 1, and how woke 1 actually started in like 2012, 2014.
Yeah, it started with like far back Gamergate, right? You could go even further back, and technically can say that you can technically say that woke already started with communism, but whatever, because like a lot of these woke people are just communists anyway.
With Gamergate, Me Too, you know, Tumblr era feminism, the whole pre-Trump era wokeness, before it was even called
man-spreading. A man spreading his legs because he has balls. This is like would a woman with big booba be woman spreading? Because right, she takes a lot of space up in front of her with her chest. Anyway, I'm having just ideas.
Woke. And I talked about how I don't want them to rewrite history and pretend this all started in like 2020. After uploading that video on woke 1, I thought I was free. That I would never have to hear the insufferable, delusional term woke 1 ever again. I thought I could finally move on with my life. Yeah, I thought.
What do you make of those controversial statements I'm sure you've seen? I mean, she's you know, the Thanksgiving dust up, abolish prisons, abolish police.
Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away from a lot
Right,
of that.
she's moved away from it. Of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today. I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke 1 was crazy.
Now, as an ex-AOC fangirl, I feel like I am well within my rights to say, not so fast, bitch. I watched these people go from anti-establishment, fighting the man, become the most preachy, buck-broken, neutered HR department Karens in real time. I remember when she broke away from the Bernie Sanders campaign after he dared go on Joe Rogan. I watched this all happen, and I held on. I held on for a long time. Many would say too long, in fact. But this clip of AOC talking about woke 1 really solidified how I've been feeling for the past few years. In this video, I will be responding to AOC trying to walk back woke 1 in what I can only assume is a desperate attempt to distance herself from the more crazy people in her movement.
It looks like a lot of these parties, right? I feel like they lose because they don't get on board with male spaces, right? That's something that people, right, they don't like to hear that, but yes, going on a Joe Rogan podcast could actually help you, right? It's one of the biggest podcasts among men. So going there for Bernie Sanders was actually a good decision, right? But again, the woman doesn't get that. And honestly, so that Harris, we have somebody that's right here in Germany. We have somebody that's similar to Joe Rogan, right? He also just he invites about everyone who wants to yap, right? From the most far, I guess the left doesn't go there, right? But like, he even invites like far right wing people to interview them and ask them about their views, because it's a smart thing to do. Not only do you get a lot of reach, but if the interviewer is arguably a good interviewer, you can make somebody tell on themselves, right? What are their plans, whatever. Anyway, Harris spent millions on the Fortnite map, and it you know why? It also backfired, and there's a very specific reason why. The last time I checked, 12-year-olds do not vote. Right, what's the voting as in the voting age in the US? Maybe 16, 18? Somewhere there, probably, right? Well, 14-year-olds aren't voting. That's just not happening. Mistake.
For a future presidential run. Now, while politicians are out here trying to dodge accountability for things that they've said and done, the rest of us are out here figuring out how the we're gonna afford anything. People are getting squeezed from every direction. Rent costs too much, groceries cost too much, everything costs too much. At this point, I'm scared to open my wallet because I know it's gonna be empty. Actually, that's not true. It's full of just random gift cards from 2011 that I've never used. I don't even know what half this stuff is. But thankfully, I have a product that can help with
Funny, because I have a ton of gift cards that I don't know what to do with. See, I've collected at least, like, what, 7 or 8 stamp cards, right? From hairdressers and barbers and shit, right? So there's that. I've never completed them. I always got a new one because I was just incompetent to keep, right, to show them off or get a stamp in general, right? I'm not that smart.
With just that. So before we get into today's video, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, Ridge. Ridge is known for creating premium minimalist wallets that can hold up to 12 cards and conveniently store your cash. They're made with RFID blocking technology, which protects you from wireless identity theft. One of the things I love about their products
Pointless. The EU wants to enforce the digital euro.
is they come in so many different designs. Their store features over 30 unique colors and styles. My favorite right now is the titanium purple. I love the sleek design and I love the very subtle purpley color. I think it's gorgeous. Another cool product that works well with the wallet is the Ridge Tracker Card. It's like an air tag in the shape of a credit card. You just put it right in your wallet, and if you ever lose your wallet, you can find its location right from your phone. Plus, it charges wirelessly and can last up to 5 months on a full charge. But Ridge isn't just focused on wallets anymore. They also created a very useful 5-in-1 power bank. It comes with MagSafe wireless charging and even a charging pad for your Apple Watch. Ridge has also created new 24-ounce water bottles. I've got the American traditional design. I love it. It's so cute. It's like little retro tattoos made from double-walled stainless steel. It keeps your drink nice and cold for hours. I'm taking a trip to Italy soon, and I am definitely going to bring the water.
I need the reverse for summer. I need the reverse for winter. I need them nice and warm, actually, right? I've always struggled with finding, like, nice bottles for winter that keep, like, tea and coffee, right? Really, like, warm for a long period. Because, like, right? It's just, like, I will probably do that again, right? Once winter hits, just bring, like, a bottle with tea everywhere I go.
Bottle and the wireless charger. These will come in handy. I think Ridge's products are great, but don't just take my word on it. Ridge has over 100,000 5-star reviews. And now they even have something extra special. This year, Ridge is hosting a massive sweepstakes, and this time 2 people can win. The winners get to choose from a Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato, a Hennessy Velociraptor, a Ford Bronco, or $100,000 in cash. The giveaway runs until September 8th. There are tons of ways you can enter, but you can also just enter it for free. But if you want to boost your chances, every Ridge purchase gets you additional entries. So head over to ridge.com patreon.com/shoe to check out their collection and enter the 2026 sweepstakes for free using my link. Big thanks to Ridge for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. And now, back to the video.
I need to keep my liquid nice and moist. Are you sure you're referring to liquid here? It isn't. Anyway.
Now, before we get into the real meat of this, the real juicy, this is the politician AOC and the interviewer are talking about. Francesca Hong is a progressive DSA candidate who recently lost her primary. Francesca Hong has a few interesting tweets from 2020.
Defund the police. 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 Craft 2021 budget. So, who are you calling if somebody enters your house without permission? Not the police, because they have no funds. How does this work? I'm actually happy that this one lost. This sounds terrible for the people of that city.
Who among us does not? But most notably, one about wanting to cancel Thanksgiving. Cancel Thanksgiving. Should have done this in 1621. If it takes a worldwide pandemic for us to realize we should stop celebrating colonialism and the original super spreader event that killed indigenous folks and women, so be it. Please don't.
So, I have a question. Would that apply to the countless of indigenous people that attacked the people of Mexico, indigenous of Mexico? Because fun fact, the Spanish weren't the only one doing that. But here, fun fact, she'll call it private security. True. Let's call it about that. And since they are so much so, why is that in German? Anyway, if they are so much so Islam lovers, as they say, right? Shouldn't that apply to them as well? Because they are very much colonizers. In fact, they're far worse. They're far worse. They're significantly worse. Because the countries that were colonized still have their culture now. The countries that were colonized by Islam no longer have the culture, but I suppose that doesn't apply to those. Very interesting, right? Since we're so anti-colonizer, right? Which arguably that has brought good things to some countries as well. For example, Australia. Because if you didn't know, the Aborigines had horrific practices that would technically consider them today, right? If we look back, as a grape culture, like an actual grape culture. Anyway, it's funny.
Don't gather for the colonizer holiday. Please do wear a mask. I forget that people actually speak like this, and it's not just like some conservative parody of liberals.
One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I'm a chef. Bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities.
Don't get me wrong.
And there's also something important that needs to be named. They were wiping out each other. They even got resources from the so-called colonizers to wipe out each other. The indigenous people of the United States, the Native Americans, were not twinkle twinkle stars goody two-shoes. They were also turning each other into slaves and wiping each other out. So like acting like, oh, this is so terrible. Well, then you need to put the shoe also on the Native Americans for wiping out their own people. And condemn their ancestors for wiping out their own people. They won't do that. It's like, oh, yeah, so terrible. Well, it's not like the others were better. And arguably, if you wipe somebody out and take over their land, technically, aren't you a colonizer yourself? One was just on a larger scale, so I have questions.
I love the struggle session they're putting these candidates through, reading their old woke 1.0 tweets back at them, like a dog that peed on the carpet. What is this? What is this? But the quotes and replies from like Democrats and leftists on this were even funnier. Is it so hard to just say, no, I do not want to cancel Thanksgiving? Even if you do want to, just lie? Why is she catering so hard to the fringe? Does she want to lose her election? Why can't she just lie? This woman is an optics nightmare. Just say no. Say it was a joke. Say it was woke one. Just lie, for fuck's sake. Just say no. Just lie, please. No, she shouldn't lie, and she's not trying to cater. This is what she...
So, let me get this straight. If someone from the opposite side decided to lie, that is a problem. But if it's one of their side lies, it's a good thing. Were we not at one point, like, we want good people to run political, positions? What happened there? So you're quote unquote employing the same tactics. I thought we were good people, apparently not. Guten Morgen, Poke. Hi, hello, Landon. How are you doing? You're doing well.
Truly believes. And the people should know exactly what she believes. She has talked about her half-white son, that he gives her a quote, proximity to whiteness.
I wasn't always aware of the struggles of other communities of color because for me, assimilation always kind of took over. And so I did marry.
Yes, you should assimilate into the culture that you live in. Shocker. See, the reason why the United States is so fucked up is because you have multiple different subcultures that do not get along. You can very much see that between black communities and white communities. They do not get along because they have developed different cultures. That is a reality. What these people don't understand is that they are artificially destroying something that should be a melting pot. You cannot have a society that is basically built on immigrants if you don't have a culture that everyone follows along. Right? Same morals, same views, right? You need these. If you don't have these, you cannot create if you don't have share a culture, you cannot create a proper melting pot, which creates these this tension between different groups, right? Which is not normal. That's not fine. That's a problem, right? We see this here, right? We have entire areas that, right, in some cities that do not get along with the majority of the native population because they do not share they don't share the language, they don't share the culture, they don't share education, they share nothing. Right? There's entire blocks in Germany where not a single word of German is being spoken. How can you work with these people? There's also, I've seen it, there's also plenty of videos. There's entire blocks where not a single word of English is spoken. How do you deal with these people? Assimilation is to a degree is necessary. That's a reality. That's something that these people don't get. That's why multiculturalism failed. Because the way they're doing it doesn't work.
And proximity to whiteness continues, right? My son is biracial. He's half white and half Korean.
I love the hesitation. She's like, I married my child is half white. She can't even like bring herself to.
Also, that poor husband, that poor son. He probably has to hear entire light novels about how he's privileged because he's half white. I can hear it, right? The poor husband.
Say it. Activists in the streets colonized.
Then again, the husband probably is gonna be happy when her boyfriend buys him like a Switch or something, so he can play.
In the sheets. Many such cases. Also, Francesca Hong just like hates all holidays, apparently. This woman is straight up Grinch maxing. She's got a hate tweet for every fucking holiday, I swear to God. Except for Kwanzaa. Of course. Why would she hate Kwanzaa? When asked how her long-term vision of a world without prisons would work, Hong said, "What I know is attainable, and the policies that actually meet the urgency of the moment and understanding the realities of it means we have to ensure that we're funding our local governments, that we're bringing justice."
She said nothing. She said a whole lot of nothing. What do you do with people that can no longer be integrated into society? That is simply the question. And what she says is, what I know is attainable. That is her answer. And you cannot break... What are you going to do? Are you going to let them walk around? What are you going to do?
To victims. She added, what may have been aspirational is not primary. What may have been aspirational. So it's still an aspiration. It's still a goal. It's just not the primary one. Interesting. Also, her opponent said this.
People try to call me the establishment. I look at that as a slur, particularly as an African-American candidate.
So, cancel Thanksgiving or establishment is a racist slur. Your Democratic Party, sir. Anyway, my point is, Francesca Hong's old tweets about defunding the police and whiteness and Thanksgiving, they were being all hand-waved away by AOC as just simply being woke one.
Woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy. But if you said woke one was crazy during woke one, you are a racist fascist Nazi. The citation of woke 1.0 or woke 1 is now a common shorthand among parts of the online left to describe and distance themselves from what they view as a more dated or inconvenient aspects of the impassioned social justice activism they participated in during the late 2010s and early 2020s. In 2021, Chai Osi, campaigning for New York City Council, tweeted, "A cis white man should not be the next speaker of the council." When a critic...
The thing is, like, we need to stop them. I've noticed a trend. If retarded leftist idea happen in Europe, they're gonna swap over to the United States. If retarded leftist ideas happen in the US, they're gonna swap over to Europe. Which means we need to mutually assure that our trends in that political line do not swap over. Now, how are we gonna do that? Because I've noticed this, right? Right, I've seen this, right? Because when they started yapping about defund the police, we started yapping about defund the police. It seems it's all interconnected. I am seeing it. Because yes, in Germany and German Twitter, they are also using the term woke one. It's crazy. Yep. So, I've noticed that. Instead of there is no war and Bossing say there is no delusion in the left. Big wide smile.
Of his on X unearthed that old post earlier this year, Ose, now a council member, gave a pithy response. Woke one was crazy. We all got a bit crazy back then. We did some jello shots and got on the bar and took off our tops and burned the city down and got people fired from their jobs for having opinions Obama had 15 years ago. You can't spend like 10 years bullying people into the most retarded asocial political opinions under the coercion of social ostracization or getting fired from their job, then turn around and just be like, that just happened. My career for like a decade has been calling this out, has been trying to tell the left and the Democratic Party that this woke shit was toxic and would drive people away from them. And for 10 years, I was called a racist, sexist, pick-me, fascist, Nazi, every ist and ism under the sun. And now they're just conceding to that and acting like it never happened. And you just expect us to, what? Move on? I've been like a dog chasing a car, and I finally got the car, and I don't know what to...
Well, one was crazy. We shot people. Anyway. Yeah. Literally. That's what's harassment. It's like they're acting like it wasn't that big of a deal. It's interesting.
To do with it. Like, first of all, why as a Democratic politician would you say this? You're basically saying like, yeah, MAGA was right. We were crazy. Like, okay, what else are they right about then? Even from like an AOC fan point of view, this just makes her look completely unserious and makes like the progressive movement look completely unserious, which it is. Why should anyone trust a politician who can get swept up in mass hysteria so easily? How can I trust that won't happen again? How can I trust in 5 years from now, you won't just call whatever it is you're advocating for now woke too and dismiss it as crazy? Free Palestine. Woke too was crazy. Like, What do you believe in? Could you imagine Republicans being like, January 6th one was crazy? Basically, I said this all on Twitter and people were like already making videos of it. AOC panics after ShoeOnHead calls her. Like, that didn't even happen. Like, I don't think AOC even knows I exist. I love the thumbnail on this one. Shoe bitch slaps AOC. Who the fuck is this? Is that Shoe bitch? Ah yes, the infamous, notorious Shoe bitch. Going around slapping women. Every time
I think you misread that. Shoe bitch slaps. So you bitch slap. Wait, you misread that. Woman! Oh, she's having a woman moment. Please, inspect her.
I log onto YouTube, I'm destroying and slapping and finishing on people. If you didn't know who I was, you would think I was some like psychopathic rapist. And then you click on
Well, some of the thumbnails do look crazy, and right, even Nux uses that, so there's that.
the video and it's just like, I posted a tweet. Anyway, back to the point. When a citizen changes their mind on something, that's totally normal, that's totally natural. Many things can happen in the span of years that can change your mind on something. It's perfectly normal to evolve and grow. And it's fine if you're a politician and you change your mind on something, but, and this is a big but, this is a fat ass. If you're a politician and you change your mind on something, I want to know exactly why you changed your mind. When you changed your mind. Be transparent. What about woke 1, really woke 2 in my opinion, don't you agree with anymore? Why didn't the interviewer ask AOC that question? Like, what was crazy about woke 1? Trans women are women, DEI, white privilege, defund the police, the green.
Wrong. Trans women are not women. That's crazy, yeah, though. They're all crazy, I mean. She's the guy from that that slaps all the people at the party. Yeah. Somebody should make an edit for that.
New Deal, like what? What? Tell us. What? Tell the class. I've talked about this a few times in a few videos, but one example of me changing my mind, I was way more critical of the police back in like 2020, like borderline ACAB. I was also single, depressed, living in my parents' basement, smoking weed every day, but
What good deed does to a motherfucker. Anyway. Sorry. Well, that can happen, right? I think it could be also that a lot of it changed, right? Once she got a kiddo, right? Because then you used to realize, like, yeah, I must protect this kiddo, and this kiddo isn't safe in this world. It's also like, right? I think what majorly changed the view on for a lot of people on the police is the fucking body cams. Body cams are the worst enemy to the left, right? We've seen it everywhere. The body cams do a lot of people not a favor.
I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. I can tell you that moving from the suburbs to the city, taking public transportation, having a kid, seeing firsthand how bad things are and how bad things can get, actually experiencing the world outside of my bubble is what changed my mind on that topic and a whole bunch of other topics. So I want to know, AOC and other politicians, what about woke 1 do you disagree with now? What's sad is, if this was like 5 years ago, I'd be like, hell yeah, AOC has finally seen the light. Woke is bad, so true, now we can get real things done, comrade. But it's not 5 years ago, I'm a grown up now, and this is extremely pathetic. As a politician, you need to be transparent. I'm gonna bird hands at you. Be transparent. The people who act like we need to be apologized.
Oh no, she pulled her ultimate. She showed her ultimate. That's why the left banned the idea of ICE having body cams. Probably. That's the only reason why that could work. It's like, the shit I had to see thanks to the body cams is crazy, right? The recent trans meltdown, right? That one. The she one, right? That one. The all the attacks of violent people, right? Violent people of color is also very interesting, right? It's just interesting, right? I wonder how that. I hope that eventually, right? Here in Germany, we don't do that yet, but hopefully that does happen, that we do that here as well, where people get, like, the police gets body cams. That would be fucking great, right? That would be great. Just make it EU-wide. Police gets body cams.
for shit our ancestors did 400 years ago. Back in like 2020 never happened. I'm not buying it, sorry. These issues were fucking like existential to these people a few years ago. And now it's just like, no big deal. It was just a phase, Mom. I'm just a silly 30-year-old teenage politician. My concern isn't really that Democrats are admitting this stuff was wrong and deeply unpopular. My concern is I don't see anything preventing from that happening again. There's literally some assemblywoman in Brooklyn right now running on some woke one-ass shit as we speak, talking about how stealing should be legal, actually.
No one should be arrested, much less jailed, for stealing a tube of toothpaste. Incarceration separates people from their jobs, support service, and loved ones. It perpetuates a cycle of poverty and crime. No matter how much fear-mongering the
But right, of course it perpetuates, because you can't work because you were committed a crime. See, the cycle ends once you do no longer commit a crime. What do you mean stealing shouldn't be a crime? Should be jailed for stealing a tube of toothpaste? Probably not, but you should certainly pay up for it. Absolutely, that's a fucking crime. What are we talking about? Of course she's fat. Of course you think about stealing. You're fat. You probably need more food. Anyway, just thought of a comeback to don't like abortion, don't have one. It's like, I don't like deportations, don't deport people. Huh? Fair.
right-wing media does.
These people aren't stealing toothpaste because they have to brush their teeth. These people are stealing things in bulk to sell on Facebook Marketplace. We have food banks, food stamps, charity for poor people who can't actually.
And apparently those food stamps are being abused by people that could actually get a job and work but refuse to, as far as I've seen. They also do that here, by the way, where people get access to social services that should not have any and that can perfectly go and get a job. Fair, it's now almost impossible to get a job nowadays, right? We have like how many? Like a few, like maybe 1-2 million unemployed people, and there are no jobs for them, so there's that, I suppose. I think they get jobs for like 60,000 out of those like million, so there's that.
Afford toothpaste. If I could go back in time and tell myself one thing, it would be criminals are not Aladdin. Criminals are not Aladdin. Criminals are not Aladdin! And it would make everyone's lives incredibly easier if there was actually some deterrent against crime. Yes. Otherwise, what's the point? Why should anyone go to work and spend their hard-earned money?
Yeah, it's also like, right, if you say stealing shouldn't be that, then everyone would do it. Everyone would just get their toothpaste and not, right? Everyone just, see, she's the reason why they're implementing this like plexiglass windows, and the poor wage slave has to go up there and make sure that only that you get your toothpaste. No, she's the exact reason why this is happening. She's the exact reason why this is happening. Which, by the way, we do have this as well. Interesting, huh? How we suffer from the same problems. I wonder why. But stealing is a human right. Human rights don't arguably even exist, right? They want to say like, oh, it's a like, right? Everything's right? It's human made. Laws are human made, right? So these are also human made. It's just something moral that we agreed upon in society that can also be debated, right? They're also like, oh, they cannot be debated. Yes, they absolutely can. We have debated them before they were made. Shocker. And we can debate them if we think they're no longer appropriate.
When we can just steal. Crime is legal now. F laws. Drunk driving is not illegal on stolen land. I don't think they understand just how incomprehensible some of their worldview actually is.
So if my daughter is assaulted and raped, is there any agency that would seek to find her assailant and bring him to justice?
Of course, yeah, of course.
What would it be if not police, and where would he be if not a jail?
So I guess I really want to avoid getting kind of caught into these hypotheticals and talk more about the reality that we're actually facing right now, which is that we're spending absolutely outrageous amounts of money on police and policing.
What hypothetical? That's the entire idea.
The entire idea is a hypothetical. What is this one? They can't. Where are you going to put them? There are people you cannot reintegrate, right? If somebody steals, right? They could be reintegrated. If somebody smacks the shit out of someone, right? They can't be reintegrated. A triple, quadruple, quintuple murder, you cannot integrate that. You can't integrate Lindsay back into society. For an example, you can't do that. So what's the goal here? They cannot answer that. It is ridiculous. It's like, oh, we're spending too much money on that. So the thing is, like, we're spending too much money. So do you want more criminals in this case? Because that's what you're going to get if you start spending less money on it. Is this woman stupid? I mean, white liberal woman, this goes without saying.
That's the entire policy and you can't explain it? Abolish prisons. Where do the bad people go? I don't know. Like, yeah, okay. In a functioning society, people like that would be forced to dig ditches in a work camp forever. Useless. Sorry I'm chutting out so hard in this video. I'm in my luteal phase. I have a fucking pimple. I have a pimple. For the first time in like 15 years, I'm stressing out so hard. What the f***? Anyway, despite the Republicans completely dropping the ball right before midterms, surprise! War in the Middle East forever! The sudden walk back about Woke 1 clearly shows the Democrats are still struggling with PR. If only there was some sort of left-wing Joe Rogan.
People think I'm the king of Woke 1.
If this is... oh god. I mean, fair. He practically is. They got no one better. Hassan the Doc Shocker. Bro is electrocuting. Careful, this man is electrocuting the local dog population.
1.0, that I was Mr. Radlib, right? I never was. I have a pretty open mind to unlimited progress, but I also understand how people operate. Like I never did the Latinx thing. Like I have been dark woke before dark woke was invented. Like this is the headquarters of dark woke.
Not the dude who called me emo, calling himself dark woke. What the actual f*** is...
And gets foot marked by her. I don't know how this is possible, but they added their feet to some feet website and where you could rate feet.
Dark woke.
What is dark woke?
Dark woke is just Democrats are just as woke as we were in woke 1.0. The messaging is what's important. It is aggressive.
The entire idea of dark woke seems to be that regular woke was too polite and too wholesome.
Dark woke for me is we are fighting for good and for equality.
You are not fighting for good and equality does not exist. It doesn't. There is no evidence throughout history that people ever have been equal, ever got close to being equal. There is too many things separating us from being equal. From birth, it starts with genetics. What makes you not equal is already if you're a man or a woman. What makes you not equal is, for example, health, like genetic health differences, talents, the environment you grow up in, the location you grow up in. There is no equality. It does not exist. Sure, you can provide resources, but that doesn't mean they come out equal. If some person A has a smart idea and gets successful, person B fucks up and falls into poverty, those are not equal and they never will be. It doesn't work. Like, this, like, I've always had questions about, like, this notion of being equal. No, that doesn't exist. We're not even equal. We're also not equal in value. That's a reality. I don't get it. Questions, what do the feet freaks do when the internet women is missing both of their legs? Hands? Hands. Hands. Like, it doesn't exist. We're not even... Again, I made this example before. I am to society not as valuable as Nikola Tesla was, or Albert Einstein, or Beethoven, Mozart. I'm not. That's a reality, and most people probably aren't. Equality does not exist. It never has. Even like on a historical basis, we're not like stumps. Oh, crazy. Right? We just aren't equal. That's a reality, and that's fine.
for social justice for everybody, but we don't mind saying F you.
Dark woke, get it? It's like woke, but we're mean. You already are mean! That's why people hated you! You were finger-wagging, morally righteous woke scolds. The problem was never that the left was insufficiently mean online. God forbid someone say the wrong word, liked the wrong tweet, or failed to participate in the latest virtue signal humiliation rate.
Or plays a video game. They have been melting over Hogwarts Legacy. Too. They have been melting. By the way, Hogwarts Legacy had a trans character, but they are still melting. And I think we all should apologize to J.K. Rowling. She was right. Less important to people than Optimus. Yes! Yes! Some people put fictional characters as more important. So I'm sorry, but people aren't equal. It does not exist. These people are ridiculous. It is an objective reality. And when they're going about like men and women being equal, no, we're not. Women are outperforming men in colleges. Do you want to correct that? No, you don't, because then it goes against your agenda. We are not equal. We're not equal between two men aren't the same person, therefore they are not equal. I played all of Hogwarts Legacy. Which character was trans? Apparently there was a trans character. People have been telling that on the internet. Anyway. That is a reality. People don't like hearing this, but it's true. And I'm tired of pretending it's not true. For everyone to be equal, they would need to grow up the same. They would need to have the same historical background. They would need to have same access to resources. They would need to have the same outcomes, which is impossible. They would need to be the same personality, the same belief system. The same jobs. I'm sorry, this is not happening. I don't care where they're getting the idea of equality. It is not happening. The only thing you can do is improve people's lives by making them by essentially forcing themselves to get a better life. That is the only thing you can do. And the rest is just, right? Sure, you can implement things that if people fuck up, that they get at least caught again, right? So they don't fall completely into despair. But overall, right? Overall, there will never be equal between each other. That doesn't happen, right? Even something as simple as looks, right? It's a reality.
I'm sorry, can we just go back to that Hassan clip real quick?
I have a pretty open mind to unlimited progress.
What the does unlimited progress mean? Considering these guys think progress is like a literal linear line where just more and more people get rights. So like what the does that mean? Pedophile rights, zoophile rights? What unlimited progress are we talking about here, buddy? Because that sounds pretty woke to me. We did so much progress to the gender discussion. We somehow looped back around to little boys liking pink means they're gay. But wokely, no son of mine is gonna play with Barbies. That must mean he's a girl. You people are lost in the sauce.
Mandami's aide, his top aide, Sia Weaver, said if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize property, it's over. And impoverish the white middle class.
Beast mode. I love her so much. One of the things about Zoran is that the people surrounding him oftentimes are so much cooler.
The funny thing about this dude is, right, which is very interesting, right? The man essentially raised the debt of New York City and just moved it somewhere else, as far as I've understood. So this man didn't fix the city at all. He just put the debt somewhere else. It is ridiculous. As far as I can see, nothing actually improved in New York. Right? He wants to make public transportation free. Apparently that didn't go so well.
Than he is.
I like how in the video where he defends himself from people criticizing that clip, he's like, guys, come on, it was just a joke, guys, come on. In the description of that video, he's like, anti-white racism, which doesn't exist. Definitely not woke one. All right, buddy. Sorry. It's so hard not to just make the entire video clowning on that goofball. Like, bro was in a suit at a pool party. The man is a cartoon character. I don't want to make videos about Hassan Piker, but you can't fucking escape him nowadays because the media won't shut the fuck up about him. Fox News is just hyper-focusing on him every single day to go after the Democrats because I guess they have nothing else. And then the response to all the Hassan stuff coming out on the right, coming out on Fox News, is then like left-wing journalists making more puff pieces, taking more photo shoots of Hassan in his mansion, and all these outlets calling him like a terrorist and a communist just makes him sound way more important and like way cooler than he actually is. Nothing hurts this dude more than reminding him that he is literally just a Twitch streamer. I don't want the focus of American politics to center around a f***ing Twitch streamer. Like, I don't understand the media's obsession with this guy, but at the same time, I don't think Hassan is the best wagon to hitch yourself to if you're the Democratic Party. There are other internet celebrities on the left you could do that with. Like, God, the left really has nobody. No, he's a sex pest. No, she's a sex pest. Damn it. I don't know. There's gotta be someone with way less baggage than Hassan Piker. Like, why don't you hitch your wagon to someone like that? Instead of Hassan, who, every time he's rightfully criticized, hides behind how he just wants to give us health care.
Death to the West! Let the streets run with their capitalist blood!
Whoa, dude, you're making us look bad.
Peak.
Oh, I'm just a little healthcare boy! You wouldn't criticize a little healthcare boy now, would you?
I don't care anymore. I watch.
Even my government knew making public transport free was bad, so they made it cost 50 cents. So, right, if you didn't know, public transportation in Germany is actually not a private company. People want to say, oh yeah, it's actually a private company. It is not. The company that runs public transportation in Germany is owned by the government. The public transportation is government owned, and that has brought multiple different issues with it being underfunded. If one train is late, for example, for the rest of the day, almost all of them will be. I'm not kidding. There have been issues, right, where I had to travel massive side quests because of issues. I am done with the system, and they're not going to make it any better, right?
Wash my hands of this. There's gonna be like 25 videos uploaded after this, like ShoeOnHead bends Hassan over and like. Great. Can't wait. Remember that big study we talked about that was done after the Democrats lost the election that showed the most popular Democrat positions were things related to economic issues, and the least popular policies were things like abolishing the police, abolishing prisons, and like open border policies? People don't f***ing want to abolish the police. They do not want to abolish prisons. They don't want to talk about whiteness or whatever the f***. Talk to actual workers about them. Like, talk to actual blue-collar workers. They hate this shit. And they hate you. They hate you because you suck, but they also hate you because you hate them. Like I said 500 billion times before, more people would be on board with what the left was saying, or at least like sit down and listen to you, if you dropped the gay race Marxist bullshit. How do I know this? The DSA and the left and the Democrats, they have to distance themselves from the goofy, destructive, identity politics, asocial bullshit. And in order
the reason why they distance themselves is because, right, the bad reputation has been following them so long that it actively affects how successful they are. And when they can essentially disassociate, make everyone like, right, forget, which is at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? It's like, make people forget how bad it was, rewrite history, right? That's the reality of what's happening here. And, right, we've had this here as well, right? We have a party that was called that is called the left, or German Die Linke. They were very much and still consist of ideas and people that formerly belonged to the German Communist Party before Germany was reunited. Very much, they also distance themselves from the gay stuff because the immigrant voters don't like that. That is probably also a reason why they're doing that, yes. Right? But yeah, they're doing that here as well, right? It's interesting.
In order to do that, you actually have to mean it, not just laugh it off. But I don't think they can, because this stuff is just so deeply ingrained in socially progressive politics. A lot of this stuff isn't woke one. It's just part of dismantling whiteness and the patriarchy, destroying hierarchies, subverting norms, or whatever the f. That cancel Thanksgiving tweet wasn't just some, like, silly haha woke one bullshit. But you know, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is what I've been asking for a decade. Maybe this is a new era for the Democrats. Could AOC actually have...
So socialist, yep, they are, right? Right, but here they aren't red. Their color is purple, actually, which is very interesting. We also have one that's a dark pink, right? Which is essentially a leftist party, but like 90s, that kind of thing. 90s leftism, so essentially practically just more conservative than anything else, actually.
Changed her mind. Yes, it's totally possible, yes. AOC and I are like the same age. She's like a year older than me. She's still pretty young. 35 is young, right? It's not impossible that in her time being a politician, her mind has changed on a few things, but it lines up suspiciously well with a run for president in 2028, so forgive me if I'm a little bit skeptical. I see a lot of Republicans online like, do it AOC, run for president. Don't get too cocky. You may be surprised. The American people are an enigma, and we might see a pretty big pendulum swing. As hard as it is for some hyper-partisan brained people to hear, not everyone voting for these DSA candidates are like crazy commies or something. Just like not everyone who voted for MAGA in 2016 when Trump promised to bring jobs back and he will remember the forgotten man and whatever. Those people weren't Nazis. When people can't afford a house, a car, to get married, to have kids, you cannot be shocked when they start looking for options outside of the establishment. Huey Long, one of my favorite politicians, believed that if people had their needs met and were content and happy and had jobs and could feed their families, communism or fascism would never come to America, because people would have no reason to revolt or want those things. They would be happy with what they had. He believed that extreme economic inequality created political instability. And as the economy continues to go to shit and wages don't increase and
so the issue is, for one, right? I'm even arguing that cultural instability can cause these things as well. Because, right, it didn't start with massive inequality, we had less inequality on a economic level in 2012, yet it still started around 2010, 2012, right? It just got worse. I think it might be a cultural instability, right? I feel like if a nation does no longer share a culture, it will collapse. That is what I see. I've seen it everywhere, right? I've seen it. Italy, France, my country, Germany, Sweden. We have seen this, where not having a coherent culture does insane damage. Problem is, you raise everything goes up in price. That is a reality that the thing is, like, right? I'm against raising the minimum wage, because if you raise the minimum wage never climbs as quickly as the prices. That's a reality. So here's an interesting idea. The Swiss kind of do well with their tax system, so they tax wealthy people more and poor people less, or poorer people less. The average person is taxed less. What is it, like 20%? But in reverse, the people have more money to spend on goods, which means that the rich people get more money again, right? So, like, it equals out, right? It makes the average not struggle as much. I wonder if that is a system that could be applicable. But yeah, raising minimum wage, if you propose this, you are absolutely retarded. You have no idea of economics, and you should go out. You should leave, because you have no idea. right? It doesn't work, right? The minimum wage never climbs as quickly as the prices do. That's a reality. And I think the reason why it is so bad is because we're still recovering from 2020's situation worldwide, right? For example, energy prices are as insane in Germany because of that damn. For one, they're, for example, really expensive because we clocked out of right, we jumped out of nuclear power, but also because of the damn pandemic, which absolutely murdered the economy, right? In a lot of places, right, that did go lockdown. That's a reality. But yeah, it's difficult in the current situation to find a fix that works for all. I think dropping taxes might help. At least the income tax for people that already do not really have an income tax to begin with, right? I don't get, right? We're like, you need to realize this, right? Which is insane. We're taxing our retired people, right? My dad gets taxed on his retirement, right? After working for half an eternity, right? It is crazy. That is not normal. That should not be normal, right? And then, what needs to be applied as a fix, and people don't like hearing this, but you need to fuck. You need to fuck like your life depends on it. Because it literally does. Every single social if you are a progressive, you better have babies. Because every single social program requires taxpayers. If you want affordable health care, you need taxpayers. So you better make babies like crazy. If you want retirement, you better have babies. Because if you don't, you won't. And yeah, rather saying like the West relies on immigrants, but that is not a reality. They also have started dropping in numbers. What will you do when they no longer have any immigrants to spare? Anyway, I'm just, this is just the thing, right? Do you hear Reddit says banana ref are cheating on their partners with each other? Reddit is stupid. It's just a meme.
Retards like Dan Crenshaw respond to these issues with basically let them eat ramen. We are going to see people moving to all different directions.
Wait, is this like the French let them eat cake if they don't have bread?
On the political spectrum. Personally, until there's a Democratic Party that isn't prisoner to identity politics or isn't completely cucked by race grievance, I'm not a Democrat. And until there's a Republican Party that actually cares about workers and isn't completely cucked to a certain foreign country, I'm not a Republican. I'm trying to look like Hassan. I look like a f***ing femboy. Wait, hold on.
Hi, my name is Sock.
Stop! God, no! Femboy Shoe is real!
I look like I would be groomed on Discord. What the actual f***? Alright, I need to
I don't know, ask Niara.
Get out of this. I need to get out of this. In conclusion, I do not like seeing politicians run from accountability. I like transparency. If you change your mind on something, tell me why. This woke 1, woke 2 is a headache. I am done with it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think there's a chance AOC is being genuine? Are you willing to believe politicians who have said they've changed their mind on things? Have you changed your mind on things since like 2020?
Absolutely, I have. But for the more extreme, actually. It's the reverse. Right? I have absolutely changed my mind on a lot of things, right? For example, I changed my mind on people, right? One big change that I had is that people should be able to do what they want, right? As long as it's not harming anybody. I've changed my mind on that. Because even if you do something bad that doesn't harm anybody, you should still not do it, right? I've changed my position on that. I think that people need to have the obligation and should have the obligation, right? Absolutely. Not to do what feels good, but to do what is good. Society's built of relationships. If everyone just decides to do whatever they want, well, we will no longer have a brick house. We have a bunch of rubble. Right. That is one of the major changes I had. I do not think people should actually do what they want. I actually disagree with that. Right? I actually think too much freedom causes friction and issues. Because people with different values, I used to think my teachers were smart. My teachers were smart. The new ones are not smart, right? The new ones have absolutely no idea because they come from leftist, right? They come from leftist colleges and believe that favoring their problematic foreign students is actually going right to help them, which is not. It is interesting, right? It's interesting. Anyway, I feel like I moved to the right since started voting. I kinda. I mean, I have definitely moved to the right. There's no doubt about it, right? Absolutely. I'm a little bit. I'm moderate. I would say I'm moderate, right? I hold no extreme positions. I'd say I'm fairly moderate, as far as I'm aware. But yeah.
If so, what? If you like this video, please subscribe, and if you can, please consider donating to my Patreon, link.
NF became anti-abortion because it makes no sense in the society that wants to rely on, from like a logical perspective, it makes no sense for a society to want to have affordable health, to want to have affordable life, to not have plenty of children. It's completely logically inconsistent to be pro-choice.
Down below. All patrons get every single video a day early with no censors, no bleeps, totally raw. Also, I'm doing Patreon only live streams now. I'm planning the next one very soon, so I would love to see you guys there. And for everybody else, I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!
Yeah, anyway, not much to say, not far, more like center right. I'm like fairly moderate, I'd say. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. Yeah, not much to say here. Definitely not. I've said enough.